Well, I want to welcome all of our pastors and church leaders with our open network. My name is Beall. I'm the pastor here at Life.Church, Oklahoma City. And I want to take a moment and share just a leadership talk that I've shared all throughout Life.Church, certainly with my team and several of the other teams that I lead. And it's called the 3 C's of communication. Now, for full disclosure, full credit, everything that I've learned about communication, I've learned because I have to share the stage every weekend with arguably the greatest communicator of our generation. His name is Craig Rochelle. And the mortifying pressure of standing on that stage before he's going to come do his thing in a world-class way is no small weight. And I've kind of learned by watching him and through his feedback about some simple things you can do to take your communication to a radically more effective level. So, 3 C's of communication. The first is simply this: it is content. There is not a day that I am not thinking about what I'm going to talk about this weekend, next weekend, the following weekend. Some of us have like the strength of woo, and we have the ability to kind of spontaneously be charming in the moment and kind of just figure out a way to lead through something spontaneously. And I want to challenge you, if you have that gift, it is also a liability that tends to make us lazy. Do the work of finding stories, finding moments of leadership to share that matter. Do the work. Talk to your teams. Do whatever you can to harvest something that moves and inspires you, because if it moves and inspires you, the likelihood is it's going to move and inspire your church. So the first C, simply sweat the content. Really focus on that. The second C is clarity. Have you ever heard the phrase, the cutting room floor? In Hollywood, production houses spend hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars shooting scenes that never make it to the big screen. Why? Because they're left on the cutting room floor. They were scenes and moments in motion pictures that were good but not great. So when I was growing up, my mom used to buy orange juice. And back then it didn't come in plastic jugs that was pulp or no pulp. It came in this like cardboard carton. Some of you that are over 40 like me know what I'm talking about. It was concentrated orange juice. It was this thick sludge. And here's the thing. I want your communication to be concentrated. No fillers, no ums, no ands, no you knows, or whatever your go-to phrases are that ultimately dilutes the power of what you're talking about. Clarity, simplicity. If you can say it in 10 words, never say it in 100. Because every word you say after you've made your point, you are diluting the power of that leadership moment. So we start with great content. We cut, we remove, so that we bring something that's brief, potent, and clear. And the last C is probably arguably the most important, and that is conviction. Every weekend, Pastor Craig comes and stands next to me during worship. And during that 18 or so minutes, we've already gone through his message, and I can literally watch him going through this same routine. He's singing the songs, he's praying to God, and then with the notes and the thoughts and the talking points in his brain, he starts to scan the room. And he starts to just imagine what these people are going through, what their marriages are going through, what their businesses and their finances are going through. And he recognizes in that moment that he has the antidote to the greatest disease of all time, the disease of sin, and the antidote is the gospel. And it creates this sense of stewardship of what he is about to communicate. And some of you may have heard him tell this story. Right before the light on the camera turns on and he starts preaching, he takes a step forward. He's done it every weekend that I've ever watched him preach. And in that moment, he's stepping out of Craig Rochelle and into the power and the authority of the Holy Spirit. and he deeply believes what he is about to say. A lot of times, let's be honest, we have the things that we need to promote, the things we need to push, and if we're not careful, we're up there giving information and making announcements, but we're not moving hearts. And so one simple thing you can do, pastors and church leaders, is as you're preparing to communicate, even in your team meetings, ask yourself, do I believe deeply what I'm about to say? And if not, figure out a way to believe it. Figure out a way to connect with the why of what you're going to lead your team or your church toward, because when you feel it, I promise you, your church will as well. Content, we do the hard work to find the great stories, the great leadership moments. Clarity, cut, remove, simplify, make it brief, make it potent, make it powerful. And 3, always lead out of the why. Do you actually believe it? You do those 3 things, I promise you, it'll take your communication to the next level. If stuff like this is helpful to you, man, I just encourage you to continue to search this site. There's tons of other topics just like it. Thanks again for being a part of our open network.